Okay, we're going to get started here. Welcome. It is week 2, live lecture 1. It is Tuesday, and I apologize for the last minute pre-recording of this class. I'm actually kind of had to do this as an emergency because I am currently moving, and you know the best times of the holiday is probably not the best time to do it. Is the holiday. Because of all the stress and chaos that the holiday gives you. But yeah, so I was kind of trying to shift around my schedule here today, and I had to do this last minute because I have something that came up this evening. So I apologize for the short notice. So I'm pre-recording this. I'm going to give you an announcement to let you know that this is going to be in the live sessions area sooner than when our live lecture really is supposed to go on tonight. So hopefully you can get this information as soon as possible and you can start your projects. Tomorrow, we usually start really, really late for our live lectures, the second live lecture for this week. But I think I'm going to change that so that it's really early in the morning, get that kind of out of the way. Just because this week has been kind of crazy with the holiday schedule, and I want you guys to have the opportunity to get your stuff done early too. So I'll be posting the hours that I will be rescheduling tomorrow's live lecture, and feel free to come in, ask any questions, you know, at that time. If obviously, I'd love for you guys to listen to this lecture first before you come in tomorrow. But you know, you'll have the opportunity to, you know, show your work. If you need any extra help, tomorrow would be a great day to do that. And then just kind of an FYI, this is the end of this week. We will have your break will start. So make sure you're getting in all of your work by the end of this week deadline, so that you can just enjoy your holiday week break. We will be coming back January 7th, I believe. So you'll have, you know, a nice break in between there to relax and enjoy the holidays. So just kind of make sure you're getting everything in. I am going to be, because my schedule's been crazy this week too. If I didn't quite get to your evaluations of certain projects, I will be doing that in the next day or two. So don't feel like I forgot about you. It's just been a little crazy this week. So I will get to that in the next day or two. All right, so welcome to week 2, live lecture 1. Let's go ahead and go forward here. We have a lot to go over. Just an FYI, again, just when everything's due, discussion to post, just normal initial post needs to be posted by midnight Wednesday, Mountain Time. And then your assessment and your assignment 2 will be due before Saturday, before midnight Mountain Standard Time. So nothing really changed as far as the deadlines go. It's just kind of making sure you hit those deadlines so that you can enjoy your holiday weekend. Also, I believe the assessment 2 is a quiz. So just kind of an FYI there. All right, and you know, we're not meeting live, so if you have any questions today after listening to the lecture, definitely, you know, get a hold of me, email me. And again, tomorrow we'll be meeting a little early for the live lecture that I will hold. So if you're available, come on in. If you have any questions, then we hopefully can clear anything up, give you some guidance and extra resources if needed, and a critique if you need that as well. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna just look over your discussion 2. I'll read over it. And then also your assignment 2 overview and demo. We'll go over that today as well. So hopefully you guys can get started as soon as possible. I like this little, I wanted to start this out with a little quote by Paul Rand. I thought it was appropriate. To design is much more than simply to assemble, to order, or even to edit. It is to add value and meaning, to illuminate, to simplify, to clarify, to modify, to dignify, to dramatize, to persuade, and perhaps even to amuse. So there's a lot that goes, you know, we always talk about design, you know, form and function and all that. But design is so much more than that as well. It is form and it is function. And aesthetically, it has to work. Visually, everything kind of coming together, it elevates what we're visually communicating. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at your discussion 2 here. We are actually going to be discussing all about grids. I did post 2 announcements, an interesting video too that you can check out, and it talks just about common grids. So go ahead and read through this background. It just kind of talks about different types of grids, such as the manuscript grid, column grid, all those different types of grids, and actually they're listed down here as well in your prompt. So go ahead and read through that. Just gives you a little background information about that. And then I'll read through the prompt here. So in the world of graphic design, where each creative professional is continually looking for ways to apply effective composition layouts faster and better, utilizing an advanced grid system can significantly speed up and improve your design time. Grids have many uses and are much more than just lines on a page. They create a structure for your layout, align and balance your multi-page layout, and shape your design in a way that helps you to achieve your desired outcome. For this discussion, you will research and discuss ways grid systems are used to create an effective composition layout. So here is what you're doing. Number 1, choose one example of a 2-page magazine layout or an example of a 1-page advertisement and post with your comments. So you'll kind of find an example. From number 2, from the list below, so this list here, identify which type of grid structure is being utilized. Is it the best type of grid to use to create an effective composition layout? So I talk about that. It may or may not be. If so, why? If not, why? And how would you fix it using a different grid from the list below? So you might find an opposite example of what is effective. So talk about that. For your initial post, the following are some helpful topics to think about carefully to get your research started. What benefits do grids add to an effective composition layout? How can a well-defined grid structure help solve design challenges, communicate design concepts efficiently? Do different grids restrict the designer's ability, leaving no freedom for creativity? There's kind of the opposing view there, so that's kind of interesting to talk about. How can grids take the guesswork out of where to place things on your page? So some things to think about. If you want to see both sides of the discussion, you might kind of want to point out the pros and the cons. Okay, so for your citation, you can find articles from expert graphic designers that offer suggestions on how they apply effective composition layouts utilizing an advanced grid system. And then if you're having issues embedding your actual example, here are some instructions on how to do that so you can actually see the example without having to download the actual example. There's benchmark examples down here that you may download in their PDF form. You can take a look at, how A students have responded during this discussion. All right. So my suggestion would be, even looking up just Google Images or Pinterest. You can look up a double page spread magazine article, and take a look at different grids that you see here. These could be examples and you just download this. Or it could just be, this is kind of interesting too, it could just be an ad too as well, okay? And there's different, all kinds of different grid structures to these that you can talk about. Here's this one too, okay? Or you can do a 1-page ad that shows, if there's a lot of text in there. Pinterest is also a good one. You know, double page spread magazine article could be a keyword that you use, and then talk about. Just don't forget to hit upon all of these points in here. And then for supplemental, you know, if you want to beef up your post, you can kind of take a look at these helpful questions that might help you beef it up and, you know, make it a little bit more substantial, and use your, you know, show that you're using your critical thinking skills to think about both sides of it, pros and cons of using a grid as well. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. It's pretty to the point. Grids are great. There are some times when you don't want to use a grid. I'm going to have you research that and see when would that be appropriate. I also posted in announcements here, like I said, a little lynda.com video that I thought would be helpful, just talking about layout and composition. I believe it's only like 3 or 4 minutes long, so that might help. And you can use this as a supplemental resource within your discussion if you want to as well. Okay. Very good. If you have any questions, let me know. And then, you know, obviously we'll be meeting tomorrow early. If you have any questions, we can go through that as well. All right, so we finished up last week. We did the editor letter from the editor section on page 2 and page 7. Continued on page 7. I evaluated most of your work. I have a few that I still need to evaluate. So if you didn't get an evaluation from me, don't feel like I forgot about you. Just took a lot of time to get through a lot of your stuff. And I have 2 sections of this class this term on, so it takes a little longer as well. So I will get to you. But some things that I saw in the assignment 2, some of you guys did a great job with unifying both pages. Some of you guys had a little bit more of a challenging time. There were some challenges with the folio, so the page numbering, you know, on the wrong side of the page or not complete. Maybe the typeface wasn't consistently the same point size. A lot of alignment issues I saw as well. And just kind of hierarchical proximity issues I saw as well. So just kind of make sure you take the feedback that I gave to you, make those changes before going to your assignment 2 so that you're making those adjustments and building upon it. And if you have any questions on my feedback, let me know. And again, I think I have a few of you that are still out there waiting for yours to be graded, but I will get that in the next day or so. So hopefully you can get started with your revisions. All right, so now assignment 2, let's go ahead and take a look at your assignment 2 and what you need to do here. Okay. If you want to, you can check out your week 2 objectives here as well. These are great to kind of go over just because this is what you'll be walking away from this week, and I forgot to go over these in the beginning of the class. So we're going to be discussing how styles enable better design and a more efficient workflow. You're going to be doing that in discussions. Identify and discuss the 3 strategies to create an efficient workflow to create a multi-page project. Create a design strategy for a multi-page layout utilizing principles of design. Identify and discuss effective composition layouts utilizing an advanced grid system. Apply a well-defined grid structure to enhance visual hierarchy. And identify 4 and apply 3 advanced tools for formatting text over multiple pages to create a balanced layout. Utilize complex character and paragraph style sheets to create consistent formatting on a multi-page layout. So it says here, this week you will learn and apply advanced tools for formatting text over multiple pages to create a balanced layout, as well as utilizing complex character and paragraph style sheets to create consistent formatting throughout your magazine. There's a little motivation video you can check out. And also don't forget in your course media, which is super important because there are required readings and videos in here. Go to week 2. Required articles are here talking about the 4 types of grids. And again, this stuff can, all of this material can help you in your discussions as well. How to create balanced page layouts, definitely check that out. And then here are the lynda.com playlists that you can go back to if you're having issues with any, creating master pages, setting up margins, column guides. You can revert to this for your projects. Also, this will come in handy too. Week 1 and 2, all of this course material will come in handy for your quiz, which will be your assessment too. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out assignment 2. I'll read it over and then we'll start the demo. Unleash the power of InDesign. So you're going to kind of read through this background, gives you a nice little intro about the articles that go into magazines and types of styles and formatting of text. Stuff to kind of think about when you're formatting text. Okay, so read through that background. I'm going to read the prompt here. So after completing the editorial article in week 1, it is now time to tackle the feature article, the main story in the magazine that explores a particular topic of human interest with details that makes for enjoyable reading. For this assignment, you will be designing your 4-page feature article. So it's 4 pages this time. All of these assets required for this assignment are located in week 1's assignment. You'll be using the same magazine choice in week 1, so you're not going to be changing it, obviously. Okay, so you're going to download the feature article folder. In the 8-page document that you created in week 1, you'll be using pages 3 through 6 for your feature article. Use all copy provided for feature article. Use all images provided for feature article. Additional images are not approved. Use linked text frames to connect feature copy from page 3 to page 6. Before layout begins, the following design elements must be established. Create a second master page to include the following folio elements: page numbers, magazine logo, current month, year, magazine website. Okay, so this has changed since the last time I taught this, which was only a couple mods ago. So we're going to have to redo kind of how I'm going to demo this, but that's okay. I showed you kind of how to create a second master page the last time we met up. So, we'll just talk about that. We already did page numbers. So what I'm thinking is, okay, second page. Because of this second master page, we'll take a look at this again because we already did the first master page for your page numbers. Magazine logo is if it's talking about in the folio. Current month and year, magazine website. Okay, we'll talk about that. Define a baseline grid to align your text and images. We talked about that last week anyway, so we're just going to be doing that again. Create new paragraph and character styles and apply them to the following: headline, article intro, author byline, body copy, bulleted number list, drop cap. 1 required, I'll show you how to do that. Subheads, pull quotes. So you're going to have 2 required pull quotes. You're going to, and I failed to go over this last time, and some of you guys emailed me about that, so I apologize, and I posted an announcement about it. How to package your InDesign file, because you will be doing that again, and to include the PDF. I'll show that today. Save your package folder as a zip file, and then name it as such. Okay. Now this is kind of new here, this part, so I'm just going to show you how to set that up. We already kind of did a page number first time that you did your master page. So what we'll just do is we'll create another master page. Oh, we'll just add these to the first master page, and then I'll just show you, and I showed you last week how to create another master page, so I don't think I need to go over that again. But I'll show you how to set this up in your folio to add to it so that it's in there. Okay, so the main thing is downloading the feature article folder. Let me share my, let's see here, I don't have my InDesign file showing, so it's gonna, give me 1 second, you guys. There we go. Now this looks a little different than what you saw before. I kind of adjusted some things. I added the background image that's shown here, and I gave it in opacity. So you can see, let me share my desktop here. So you can see what the whole thing that I'm doing here. Okay, so the opacity I changed, I just selected this image. You can change your opacity here. So I just dialed this down to like 23 or 20. And then I just redid the image here in a circle. Everything else is pretty much the same. And then on page 7, I kind of redid this to have a pull quote. And then I made the upper image a little bit different. So it's kind of the same, but my folio is actually a little different too. This is from an older demo that I did. That's why it's a different year here. So let me change that. So I'm going to go to the master page and change this year. Actually, month and year. Okay. So in the beginning, when it talked about the magazine name and the magazine logo in your folio, I already have the magazine name, but not the website. So what I would probably do is probably just change this to be fitmemagazine.com. So it's like the web address. We already have the page number. We have the date. The only other thing we have is the logo. So in your folder that was given, you have a logo in there. And let me show you what they're talking about here. Let me bring up the folder. Give me 1 second here. And I'm going to have to open this up. It's under your the flag, which is your masthead for your cover. It's basically the big logo that you're going to put on your cover page, but we're not going to be doing that until week 4. But you're going to go into your flag folder of whatever, client that you're doing, and it's going to be an AI file. So open up that in Illustrator, and I just opened up mine here in Illustrator. So I'm in Illustrator right now, and it's the logo. So what you're going to do is you're going to save this as, or export as, and I did the one with the white background. You're going to export it as a PNG file. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And you do this because you want it to be transparent in the background. Do a high resolution, transparent, click OK. And this is in Illustrator. So you're going to go back to InDesign. And what you're going to do in your master page, now I'm in my master page here, you're going to, let me hit my W so I can get my rules back. Find kind of like the middle of your document, or wherever you want this to be placed here, which I'm going to have right here. It's like middle. I'm going to put the logo at the very middle point here. So I'm going to take my rectangle frame tool, and I'm just going to draw a little rectangle here in the center and do a Command D, and I'm going to place that PNG file. Go object, fitting, fill frame proportionately. It looks like it can't get any smaller than what it is. And I'm just going to get rid of that little black line underneath. I don't think it's really needed. And then I'm going to balance this. So wherever this baseline is, I'm going to make it kind of in the middle of the point size here. this is what it looks like. Actually, I'm gonna make it a lot smaller here. Hold on 1 second. If I can make this smaller, that'd be great. Yes. So I just scaled that down 60%, maybe even a little bit more. It shouldn't be real big. Another 60%. So it should be, you know, kind of small here. Let me zoom in. So mine's real tiny, but I'm going to center it in here. And what it is just the logo. So it's not supposed to be big. I've had students that put it in here too big. You want it to be kind of, it doesn't want to stick out too much. You want it to fit in here, but be recognizable. If you need to pull down your guides to get it to be aligned, so be it. You can definitely do that. Okay, this looks good. So when you go back to your regular pages, they'll pop up right here. You'll see your web address, the logo, and the date with the page numbers. The only thing I don't have here, and I did on the first thing that I showed you guys, was the roles. Let me see my styles here. That's my character style. The reason why I'm going back to this one that I did was because I accidentally deleted the one that I showed you guys yesterday, or from last week. So there we go. All right, we're going to do a new paragraph style, and I already did a folio one in the last lecture that I did for you guys, but I have to do it again. And then rules, because I deleted it. If you want to do the rules above, again, this is how you would do it. I showed this in the last live lecture. Just pick your size. Let's hit preview so we can see. Oh, it's already previewed. Oops, there we go. So you can adjust that here. You can, you know, choose a color for that. And then I guess this is the, let me make sure this is all the same type. Helvetica. Okay. All right, then condensed. That's what I'm trying to find. There we go. All right, and then if you want to do like, you know, like the page number to be bold, you can create a new character style, and you can name it page number, and just give it a more bold. Let's do heavy. You can even give it a color, like I showed you before, like a red. And then you just select it. Okay, just make sure you do it to the rest of this. If it has a plus next to it, you want to override that, because it's telling me right now, you know, there's things about this, some of it's bold that's not right in here. So It's kind of what's telling me, you know, you need to change that. Now I'm going to go make this the page number. And let's say I want to make fit me bold. I have to do another character style. I'll name that fit me bold. Give it the same size. Everything is the same except for maybe this is just more bold. Okay. And then you would go over here and do the same thing. Okay. Save that. And then it applies it to all of your pages. Okay. So now, pull this over. What we're going to do is we already have page 2 done, and we have page 7. So we have we have 4 pages to worry about for your feature page. And we're going to start on page 3. So page 3 will be the start page for your feature. 4 and 5 will be your double page spread for your feature. And then 6 will be your last page for your feature. So what you're going to do is you're going to look in your folder that you downloaded. Let me grab that here. And it should say articles, and it should have a feature article. Named features, you know, whatever your brand is here. And I'll open mine up to show you what mine looks like. So here's mine. It's going to be really long because it's 4 pages worth for the most part. You're going to do a select all. Actually, before you even do that, let's do a spell check. So total spelling and grammar. You're going to change anything that looks like it's spelled incorrectly. And this was in here just like this to kind of get you guys in the habit of doing this. This is something that you need to do before you copy and paste. A lot of spelling errors in here. Okay. All right, looks good. So then I would do select all, which is Command A, Command C, which is paste, and then go back to your InDesign file. All right, and then hit W on my keyboard so I can see my guides. I'm just going to take the type tool. I'm going to do the same thing I showed you before. Just draw a big type box and then hit Command W or Command V for paste. And right now it's showing me it's a style. Let's pull up styles here. We want to make sure that this is body copy. There we go. All right. Now, with that being said, we want it to continue on the next page. So let's draw another type box, just like we did on that one. And we're going to do another one after that over here. And then we're going to do another one over here, the last one, page 6. We're just doing one column for now, and then we'll change that. Okay, so right now we have all these boxes here. We're going to connect them. So remember how I told you before? Select your first box. There's a little red box at the very bottom right corner saying, hey, we have some more copy here, but our box isn't big enough. So you're going to click right on that red box, and you'll see in an alias kind of show you, oh, before you click anywhere, you know, where's this copy going to go? Just make sure you see that and then click in that box that you created. Now, because you have 2 big boxes with no images yet or anything set up, it's not going to show you the red box down here anymore because this is the end of the article. But we still want to link this up to the next box and to the next box so that when we do move things around and shift things, they'll be linked. So go ahead and click on the very bottom right-hand corner, bigger white box here. Click right on top and link it by just selecting the next text box. Do the same thing here on the right, page 5 to page 6, and that should be good. So anytime, you know, say I move this down to make way for image, it's going to bump everything down. Same thing here. We'll see it kind of bump. Okay, I'm going to save that. All right, now just like we did over here, I'm going to put a signifier that signifies that this is the feature page. So I'm going to kind of throw this over here, make sure it's aligned, everything looks similar. But here I'm going to write feature article. And I'm going to make it right justified here. All right, and then align it with my margin, just like I did before. I'm going to make this the same length as this one, just for consistency, but I will make it a different color. So I'm going to make it black. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it down here on this page as well. You don't have to put it on the left side of the double page spread, just because this is a double page spread. So it's kind of redundant when you have it on both pages. It's okay on the right page. And then what I would do is definitely have it on this page, on the last page. Just make sure you're aligning it perfectly how you have the first one aligned. Okay, so that's my signifier that, hey, you're on a different article now. It's the feature article. You were given some images in your folder of your magazine here. Here's my images. I'll show you in a second. So feature images. So I have a runner, a senior exercising image, sleeping image, and then a woman running with dogs. So I have all 4 of these. Look at the ones that, you know, look like they could be used larger. You can open them up in Photoshop so you can see how big they are. And, you know, obviously you'll know kind of the ones that you can use larger based on the resolution. All right, so this one, what I'm going to do is make this larger. Kind of like a focal point image. And then I'm going to fit it in here. There we go. So this could be the start of the article. I'm bleeding it off. You know, you could do something like this. I'm going to adjust this a little bit so her head's not in the way. And then I'm going to make this a 2-column. Remember how I told you how to do that? You can do 2 or 3 or whatever you want. Go to type, object, text frame options, and you would change your column here. So you do 2, 3, so on and so forth. I'm going to do 2 for this page. It's okay to do different columns, number of columns in the same article. It's okay, just as long as it works. All right, now I'm going to make sure I have my headline set up so it's a headline. It looks like a headline. There we go. And you can change this, but I'm going to keep it pretty consistent with what I've been using for headlines. The only thing, let's see, because I used it like this, I could do a second one. So I could do a new one, just go duplicate style, and maybe just make this one a little bigger in point size. We'll do like 48, and we'll do auto letting. That's a bigger one. Get your fittest fit ever. And then maybe this one gets duplicated again. Smaller head, we'll name that. So it's a little bit of a smaller headline underneath there. And then you can do a character style, just do a new character style if you want to say, maybe make this a bold header. And even just make it like a different color. Something like that. You can also, let's say smaller head, the color, say just to make it a little different, you can give it, you know, like a tint. So it has a little bit less of a significance to it. I am going to change the leading on this one here. Headline big, we'll name this one. And the leading. Does this have, okay, aligned grid, okay. I'm gonna just pull this in just slightly here. And then the byline, obviously, I think I have a byline in here already, so that's good. There's a space here. There we go. So I kind of made the headline the biggest. This is like a little subhead. And then, so you can kind of adjust things, you know, here based on what you have. Everything looks good except for the subheads. We're gonna have to change subheads here. So here's my subhead. I don't think we have a subhead in here, do we? Smaller head, nope. Okay, so let's make a new subhead. Subhead, we'll do Helvetica, kind of like what we're doing. You could do that different than your body copy. It could be kind of like your headline, just smaller. And then you can even make it a little bit bigger if you want. You can keep it the same or give it a color. I think, is this indented? Yeah, you don't want to indent that. And then go into your subhead. There we go. And just change all your subheads to that. I might miss a few here, so let me see. Changing all the subheads. All right, so that is good. Now, if you want to add, and it talks about having 2 pull quotes, which we'll get to, and a drop cap. The drop cap, what you're going to want to do is set up a completely new paragraph style just for your first paragraph. So you're going to just select your first paragraph after you have a body copy style applied to it. So here we have the body copy right here. You're just going to go up here to the upper right hand corner and say duplicate style. And we're going to name this drop cap, first paragraph. Everything's going to be the same. You're just going to take the indent off. We don't want to indent. And then the drop cap, which we might have to redo this. Let me see here. We want it to be 1 character, and we want to drop it down 2 lines. Click OK. So let's see if this works here, because sometimes this can be a little tricky. So let's go to body copy, drop cap, first paragraph. There we go. So as long as you do that, you're good to go. If you ever need to change it, like the drop cap, let's see if we, we'll have to do a character style if we do that, but that's how you would do a drop cap there. And you would just do it on the first paragraph. So you need to create a completely new style sheet in order to do that. It can be tricky if you don't do that. Now, notice, and I'm going to show you something real quick here because I just noticed it. Notice how this is ending on this baseline here. If I zoom in here, you'll see the baseline, the very end of this article is on this blue line here, and this really isn't meeting up to that. So I need to pull this down to adjust for that. There we go. So just make sure that whatever is on the left side, even if it's not the same article, this last line and all of your columns are aligned even on the right side of the page. Okay, now I'm not going to adjust any of my widths yet. I'm going to wait until I get everything kind of placed in here. Now, the only other thing I would do is maybe pull this down slightly. As long as I have 2 lines here, I'm okay. I don't know, let's see if 3 lines is better. I just want to get a little bit more space here. Pull this up a little bit. It's nice to have that clear space. Kind of some visual pause there. That's what that page looks like. Okay, so we're going to go to the second page. And for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit more dramatic because we have such a big space here. It's 2 pages. We don't want to make it look like it's too copy heavy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this text box and I'm going to pull this one over here because my plan is I'm going to use a really big image. So I'm going to start on the upper left-hand corner of my bleed, and it's going to completely cover the entire first page of my double page spread, so page 4. I'm going to go about 1/3 in, so maybe like 10 and 10.5, or 10 3/4 there, or 10 1/4. All right, so then I'm going to do Command D, and I'm going to put that runner image, just fully place it right in this area. Now I'm going to pull this text box. It's going to go in between this. This is where the middle of the magazine is, and that's okay if it goes through there. I'm going to pull my text box so I have at least enough, probably the same margin space on the left as on the right. So I think it's like 3/4. I'm going to pull this down. Save this. So you could do something funky like that, you know, where it kind of utilizes most of the page. And what I can do is put a pull quote over here if I want, kind of do something fun with that. Now I'm going to look over here and see how that affected my last page. You might want to make it consistent to where you have this ending here. Go to your properties panel. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you go to your properties panel, which is under window, properties, when I'm shifting this, see how the X and Y coordinates are changing? That's telling you where this position of this box is. So it's telling me it is right now 11 by 1.3. So we want to go over here and select this box. Now the 11 is going to be different because it's on the different page, but 1.3 is kind of what we're heading here for. The Y coordinates should be the same. And that's just where this top ends. So this is the same space here as it is here for consistency. Okay. Now, sorry guys, I got a phone call coming in here. All right, so let's see what other pictures I have to utilize here. So I have 2 more, the sleeping girl and then the running with the dog. So just 2 little images I need to add in there. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and I'm going to actually pull this a little bit further. You might kind of adjust this kind of how I'm doing it here. And I might come back and adjust this again. Let's make this thinner here. And go over here. It looks like it's filling up even more here, which is good. And I'm going to go ahead and make this let's do 2 column. And I think this is ending on the same baseline as above here. Let me see my properties panel. Okay, yeah, looks good. All right, so I have pictures that I have to place in here, and I have 2 pull quotes. So what I would do is go ahead and read through your copy. This is always good to do too, and I forgot to mention that. You should read through the articles so that you get a good understanding of what they're talking about. And then also, you will have a good understanding of what pull quotes that you want to use. All right, so my pull quote I want to use is a little longer, but it talks about, it's something important. It says, keep your house stocked with the right food. Cravings are evident, but you have almonds in your cupboard instead of junk food. Then you are more apt to eat healthier. I think that's kind of an interesting pull quote to pull in there. So I'm just going to highlight this over here. And I'm going to make my pull quote kind of go over here on the left-hand side over this image. Now, of course, I have to make a new paragraph style for my pull quote. This one is already one that I did for my letter from the editor. So obviously, this is probably not good to use for this one because it's going over my copy. So I'm just going to do duplicate style, and put pull quote 2. And I'm going to make this one a little different. I'm going to make this one white, so we'll be able to see it. I'm going to make this one Helvetica. Let's see here, bold condensed, maybe a little bit bigger. Let's see what this looks like here. Okay. And then I'm also going to make it so it's left align. So here's where the indents and spacing, I just took the first indent off and then I set it to a left alignment, just because I think it'll look better, you know, left aligned here. Now you can put the quotes in. I'm just doing the quotes. If it's over an image like I'm just doing here, I'm going to align this to the bottom of my, you can give it a drop shadow. So go up to effects, drop shadow, so that it pops a little bit more off of the page. I'm going to make this a little less dramatic though. And if you still can't see it very well, you can always do like just a box behind here and make this box a color. So let's say you'll make it white, and then you can always kind of make it, go to your properties panel and give it a, you know, a light opacity. Now, of course, we're going to bring this to the front. Excuse me, guys, sorry. That one snuck up on me here. I'm going to line this on my bottom margin, and then this one I'm just going to center in here. And then what I would do is probably change the color of this, because obviously I changed the color of the background. So either make it black without, you know, I could take off the effect. So if you want to take off the effect, sorry, I muted myself by accident. If you want to take off the effects, you would go up to your properties panel, and you would get rid of your drop shadow. Just check it off of there. Then, you know, make sure it kind of is breaking in a nice way where there's no weird hyphens and it's all balanced. Okay, so that's one pull quote. Looks good. You can have it kind of over here, you know, in an image, or you can have it over in the type. It's completely up to you. Now I'm going to do another pull quote. I'm going to do this one over on this page because I think this would be a good balance. You don't really want to have two pull quotes on the same page. I think this one might be a good one while you are working on your exercise routine. Consider getting goofy with your routines. You know, that might kind of be an interesting lead in to people kind of saying, okay, well, what are they talking about here? All right, so I just kind of copied and pasted this here. I'm going to put pull quote 2. There we go. And then I'm going to put the quotes in there. I'm going to put this kind of over here for now. All right, and then I'm going to take my rectangle frame tool. I'm just going to paste in here the one image with the one woman with her dog. I have two more, this image, and I have one more to put in here. So what we can do with this, and it looks like that would be balancing this pretty well here. We can make this a little smaller, or we can make the copy, and see how I'm kind of thinking about this, like we're kind of adjusting this as we go forward here. Make this into 3 columns, and I can make this smaller. Or I can even make this, let's see how this all works here, because we want to see the dog in here. Throw a text wrap on this so that that copy is not getting in the way. Oops, I want that linked here. Let's go back to our 2 columns. There we go. Just playing around with some things here. Maybe this goes on top of this, and this has a text wrap on it. We'll see how this all works. Throw this over here. Text wrap works on even copy, body copy boxes. I'm going to do a shift return. Make something like that, kind of pulls you in. We have one more image that we need to put in here, and it looks like we need some room here. So I'm going to copy this and scale this down a little bit. Do 90%. We'll do another 90%. I'm just scaling this down. Oops. We do have more copy up here. Hold on. There we go. And then I'm just going to pull this down so that we just have the image resting on that margin. It's a lot of kind of playing around with everything, seeing how everything fits too. Now I can probably pull this in a little bit more, or pull this in so that we can gain more space in here. And I'm going to make this maybe 2 columns. There we go. That looks better. You know, it's easier to read when it's smaller columns like that. And then here I'm gaining more space down here. Okay. Now we have that sleeping image that I'm probably going to put somewhere around here, maybe up on the top to balance this out. And because I've been bleeding a lot of my images, maybe I'll bleed this off. Make it consistent. Dog in there. Okay, and then I'll post another picture up here. We will bleed this one off from the top of the woman sleeping. Text wrap again. Make this a little bit smaller. So it's all about kind of adjusting everything to make it work. How much copy do we have? Just a little bit here. Okay. Just kind of pay attention to what your bottom copy is doing. Okay, so then I'm going to go back because I did notice a few things I saw here, and I saw some of this happening in your own copy as well. Just make sure you don't have this extra space here. You just want one space after this. You can even put a tab here if you want. Just too big of a space there. Okay, so that should pull everything in a little bit. Let's take a look at everything. Here's the beginning article, first part of the article, second part, or double page spread of that. And then the last page, which I think we're at the very bottom, so we're pretty good with space here. Everything's aligned. Now the only thing I would do is just make sure everything is really aligned. So this article is matching the baselines here. Matching the baselines here, looks like we can pull this down a little bit. And that'll gain space over here, which that means I could pull this down a little bit. See how it's kind of bumping it down, which is good. Get a clock there. And now I'll go through here and just make sure everything looks good. Nothing is breaking weird. Not too many hyphens, no gaps, no widows. And then kind of fix everything. So like right here, I would probably do a shift return. Just to kind of even this out. That looks good. I don't have any widows or any weird like break-offs. If I only had one line of text here on this page, then I would have to shift some things around. You can set this copy up differently too. Let's make a paragraph style for this. So let's go to styles and I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can do a duplicate style of the body copy and just name it bullet body copy. And it's going to be the same, same size, same typeface. The only thing we're going to do is set a tab in there. So we'll set a tab at 0.25 and then let's see, 0.25, let's do 0.45. Okay. And then what we can do here too is we can make it maybe a different character color. This article, actually, let's just make this bold. We can make this bold. We'll do bold italic. And then just choose bullet copy. And then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need a tab. So I'm going to delete and do, oops, do a tab. Okay, let's reset these tabs here. These tabs might be a little difficult. Oh, because we have an indent on here. So let's take the indent off. Okay. That might work. It might be better. There we go. So take the indent off, and now you can hit tab and then another tab. Tab, oops. Tab. So what you're doing is just kind of tabbing this over so that it kind of aligns differently and kind of sets it off a little bit in a different way. This can get a little tricky, so you're gonna have to be careful that this isn't getting all messed up in any way, but it just takes practice, that's all. And then make sure if you have any other bulleted copy in this same article that it's being treated the same way for consistency, because then that would look weird if you did it here but nowhere else in the article that has bullet copy. So see how it kind of sets it off a little bit. So let's see if there's any other bullet copy. I think there is, but let's see if that messed up anything in here. Looks good. Oh yeah, right here. This is bulleted copy here. And that does kind of mess up my spacing. There we go. Oh, you know what's messing this up is this picture here, because I have a text wrap on here. So let me take that text wrap and adjust it on the right side. So I'm going to unlink this. This is where you can kind of change maybe just the right side so it's not affected as much. And that way it doesn't affect my tabs here. Trying to figure out what the heck was going on there. Okay, I'm just hitting tab, tab, tab. Save, looks good. I don't have any copy. That looks great. It kind of worked out. Looks really good. All right, everything else looks good except for this line here. This is kind of a weird, I probably maybe bump this down a little bit so there's more. There's more room there. Probably bump that up. And then the only thing is my folio, obviously, see how this is, you know, it's not being covered here. I'd have to actually make a new master page for the folio so that this image wouldn't be kind of, you know, in the way of the folio. I'm just going to bring this up for now. And I'm going to make this a little smaller in here. There we go. And then I will pull this in so that it's meeting with, okay. Maybe a little bit more inward there, so. There we go. All right, so everything looks good. Even though there's a little bit more space down here, that's okay. We can align the picture with that at least. Looks pretty good. You might, just make sure you don't have a huge gap here, kind of even it out. If you want to keep it a little bit more consistent, you can add, some more design elements to this, maybe throw in like a line. Now I'm going to show you some things that you can do here. So stroke. I'm going to just make a line here. I'm going to make it really thick. Maybe these are kind of what unifies this article. Oops, hold on a second, guys. Resetting my stuff here. Maybe this appears, in certain areas of your article that kind of keep it consistent. Maybe this is a nice little break between your pull quote and your image. The only thing is, this needs a wrap on it. And that's going to bounce everything kind of in a different way here. So let me go and choose this text wrap. It's kind of all about balancing, right? The bottom, and I'm just going to bounce this up a little bit. There we go. See how that kind of brought that text up there? That looks good. I wouldn't pull this over to the right just because, obviously it's going to break it up, but this is a nice little break in here, and it kind of keeps it consistent with some of the design elements that we were working on the other pages. You can even add to that, like say if you wanted to, say you just didn't want a black, you wanted to add maybe like a, let's see, maybe like dots in here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So choose a line, go to stroke, and then maybe choose dots or something like that. Maybe something like that would be kind of neat. And then you would just copy that over. And this is just to kind of add design elements to this if you think it's appropriate. If I'm going to extend this, I might want to extend this too. It might look good like that. And then there we go. We can even add this to the bottom of our picture if we wanted to. Keep it consistent, kind of interesting. So you can do stuff like that, keep it visually interesting. You can do it up here too. Unifies, your elements even more so. And, so that kind of makes it make sense for the article. Pull this up a little bit. Okay, so a couple of things to think about. You don't have to do it kind of like how I did it here. think about how you can make it your own look and feel. This is the feature article, so it should look, different. It should look kind of like very, very enticing visually. You don't want it to be very copy heavy. So you want to make sure that it's interesting looking, it's easy to read, all your elements are being hit upon there. You have hierarchy, so you have an image and title that pulls you in. You have at least 2 pull quotes, maybe on separate pages. You have all the images in there. Emphasis of your subheads. They could be the same typefaces you're using for your pull quotes. And your headlines, maybe not necessarily your body copy, and maybe different color. Just make sure your baselines are all aligning from column to column, that they're all hitting on the same baselines at the bottom of each article. Your folio is clear and easy to see. You're changing it with the logo, how I showed you how to do that, and everything's in place. You might have a signifier here to show you that, yeah, you're on the article of feature article. You could definitely tell these are 2 different articles from this page to this page. And you can add even more to this. If you wanted to add a color in the background, you can. You just have to be careful, because if it's going to be something that covers up your folio, you're going to want another master page. So you're going to duplicate your master page, in order to have that go behind it. All right, so that is pretty much where we're at. And now we're going to save this. I'm going to show you how to package this. So you're going to go File, Package. This is where you'll see the summary of everything in your folder, your linked images, your fonts that you're using, linked images. Click Package. Make sure all of these are checked, and including your PDF. Choose smallest file. The only thing that I'm not sure if they'll be able to change this in presets. Let me cancel this real quick. If you go up to InDesign, you go to Preferences. Let's see if I can change this here. Increments. You might have to open up Adobe and go to Preferences. Adobe, yeah. Page display. What I'm looking here is facing pages. Let me see. Let me do like a little research here, because I was wondering this before. As facing pages. All right, I just found a little lynda.com video, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. And then we'll all kind of learn from it here, because I'm curious about this.
A lot of the PDFs that we work with were originally set up for printing for 2-page spreads, like this brochure, for example. And oftentimes I'll run into people who put up these brochures that were meant for print on their website so people could download them. But it's a pet peeve of mine how sometimes they just don't pay any attention to their end user. So if I'm a regular end user, what am I supposed to do with a document that is 11 by 17? If I want to print this out, it's going to have to be very small on my letter size printer. And we're not looking at facing pages that were set up as two individual pages. This is actually an 11 by 17 inch single page document. You see how it says that there's only 4 pages? Because the person who created this in Adobe InDesign exported it with the spreads checkbox turned on, which is often what you want if you are sending a proof to a client and they want to see what something looks like as a spread. But it's not what you want in almost every other instance. Instead, if you have a facing pages document and you want to allow people to view it on screen just for reading on screen or printing on their own local printer, then you should export it as single pages. I have an example of one such document. The Chicago Creative Coalition, they do it right. I downloaded this from their website, and here is their newsletter. That's actually a facing pages newsletter that was exported as single pages. So why is this useful? You may say, well, first of all, of course, I can print on my 8.5 by 11 inch printer with no problem. But also, if I want to see what the spreads look like in Acrobat, then I can simply go to the View menu, go to Page Display, and say, show me 2 pages. And now I can see spreads. You can do this in Reader as well. But wait, I hear you saying, this is not how it's meant to be seen. The cover is not on the left-hand page. This is actually the first left-hand facing page of the newsletter. Here's another tip, is that if you choose that view under Page Display, 2-page view, be sure to also choose Show Cover Page in 2-page view. And that way, it's smart enough to put the cover by itself. In other words, the first page will always appear by itself in the spread, and then the remaining pages will appear as facing pages. Now, this is actually what the newsletter looks like. And then the last page is the back cover. It would be cool to be able to see the back cover right next to the front cover, but again, we're getting back to what a printer wants to see or what a pre-press department wants to see. This is not normally what your end users want to see when they download the file. So please, everyone, if you are passing along PDFs for your end users to look at on screen or print out, please don't export as spreads, export as single pages, and leave it up to your end users to use Reader or Acrobat View commands to arrange the pages as they see fit.
Okay, so that's actually kind of a good tip there. All right, so what we're going to do, I was going to show you how to save it as facing pages, but I think what we're going to do, let's go back to your InDesign file where we saved the package file. Let's go to File, Package, do the same thing we did before, include a PDF, smallest file is fine, put it in your desktop. Everything else is checked on the left side there. Hit Package, click OK. It might take a little while here. Once it's done, I'm just going to share my desktop so you guys can see my desktop here. So here's the folder, my final folder, and it has all my stuff. It has my InDesign file. It's open, so that's why you see this file too. You have your PDF, your document fonts, and your links. Open up this PDF, and we're going to view it kind of like that gentleman just said here. So we're going to go up to View, and we're going to go to Show Cover Page and 2-page view. There we go. So that's how I'll view your file so that I can see your spreads. But just go ahead and take a look, make sure everything looks good. You can even save it like this. Just do Command File Save As if you want to save it with the view as such. Or I can just view it like that. It might just pop it out of your thing and just drag it right back in and say replace. Okay, when this is ready to go, you just do a Control click or Control click compress, and this will compress it into a zipped file, or select the folder, go up to File, and choose compress. It'll zip it. So this is the file folder that you're going to submit. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. And we can, like I said, tomorrow we're going to meet early. I will post the hours, the new hours tonight, so you guys know when to meet me live tomorrow morning if you have the chance. But in the meantime, go ahead. Hopefully you'll review this, start your projects, and then we can go forward from there. All right, guys, have a great night, and I'll hopefully be seeing you tomorrow morning.